the founder of LA blockchain event. So yeah, we only have 10 minutes chat with you here, but today we want to cover the topic of DeFi investment. And so I'm curious, why investing in DeFi for you, for your fund?
For us, it's sort of like a natural extension of everything we've always done. So Joseph and I met each other in the crowdfunding space. And the crowdfunding space generally existed because it was a natural extension of social media and raising money on the internet and being able to launch your company online. And so, you know, at the earliest days, what we really wanted to do on the internet wasn't legal yet. There's public solicitation laws, there's laws for accredited investors, and all of those things. They're getting better, and they've gotten much better in the years to come, but they're not quite there yet. And actually, one of the earliest people I met when I was launching my company in that space was Tim Draper also. He was a big fan of it. And what we sort of saw in the evolution of that space was ICOs, was crypto, was decentralized finance, right? So just because I'm in the United States and you're in Italy right now, and the rest of the crowd is in Dubai, shouldn't mean that we shouldn't be able to transact with each other. It's 2021. We've all been locked at home for the last year, working virtually. We should be able to transact virtually. We should be able to invest in each other's companies. We should be able to do anything we want to do with anyone on the planet we want to do it with. We can talk this way, so we should be able to transact. And decentralized finance is basically an extension of that. We're cutting out all of the fat from the process, and we're going direct and peer-to-peer, and using smart contracts and using the blockchain, we're able to do that really, really easily now in a way we couldn't before.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think DeFi is still at the early stage of development, if you agree with that statement. But then we've seen, you know, Bitcoin has been in the space for over 12 years now, and recently the announcement of Tesla bought 1.5 billion Bitcoin. I'm not sure why they bought it. Maybe a hedge against inflation. But what's your opinion on the Bitcoin influence on the development of DeFi and in investment in general?
Yeah, you know, I think they're very correlated, and there's lots of people who go, you know, Bitcoin is a separate thing from Ethereum, and then some people will say DeFi, you know, you should be talking about Ethereum and not the other networks and things like that. And I think that stuff is mostly, you know, baloney, right? Like it's crazy. If you love Bitcoin, it's a natural extension to then go, okay, well, you love decentralized money, you should love decentralized finance. And of course, one of the assets that's locked up the most or that's transacted with the most in decentralized finance is Bitcoin. And that's how it should be. And what's exciting about that is that you're taking this concept of non-government backed money, of peer-to-peer money, or store of value, however you want to look at it, and you're going, okay, how can we do that with other things? How can we do that with bonds, with stocks, with loans, with everything that we do? Because it's all really inefficient, and now we've all seen the light. And so I think it's a natural extension. And we're seeing it happen now. You know, people are talking about 30 billion, 40 billion, $50 billion locked in decentralized finance. And it's a drop in the bucket, right? In the United States alone, there's $7 trillion a year of alternatives. So to look at those $50 billion and go, oh my gosh, it's here, is disingenuous. But if you're a bank from that perspective, looking at this, you have to think, we need to compete with this or else we're going to go out of business. You have to see that the writing's on the wall. It's like the first people, you know, it's like the people who repaired carriages and horses and things like that in the turn of the century, seeing the first car driving down the road. You'd be scared out of your mind that you know, my job isn't going to be here much longer.
Well, it's interesting that you compare Bitcoin with other decentralized applications. Yesterday, I actually heard in Clubhouse, there's a chat going on, and one of the guys was trying to convince a newcomer to why should she buy Bitcoin. and she was asking the question, why should I not buy other coins? And I think the guy who was convincing her is a Bitcoin maximist.
Yeah.
And he was his explanation was Bitcoin is truly decentralized, and other applications that these days they're calling themselves decentralized, but actually they have a centralized entity. And how would you comment on, as an investor, would you have the same concern?
I would have a concern on things that aren't fully decentralized and are calling them decentralized, but there's also very many people who argue against Bitcoin, saying it's not decentralized enough, or there's too much hash power being routed through China, or whatever excuse they have at that moment, or whatever argument they're having. And some of these people, they argue like religion, right? Like they go this narrow path, it's this or nothing else. And that's not a good way to look at technology. It's not a good way to look at programming languages. When we open up our web browser, I might be on iOS on my phone, I might be on a different operating system on my computer, I might be on a Windows machine. Then the browser has its own programming languages within it. When I go on a website, I'm looking at HTML, CSS, JavaScript, all these things. All of these puzzle pieces are going to be a part of the future. And I guess since we're pretty soon going to be running out of time, what I'd like to make sure everyone thinks about is that you absolutely should have Bitcoin. You absolutely should have Ethereum. You should probably also have Tezos, right? If you're going down that path. But what you should also do is think about the companies who are building the foundation for the future economy. It's, Bitcoin isn't a company, it's the store of value. Ethereum isn't a company, it's the programming language, right? Tezos is the programming language. But who's using those programming languages, and who's going to be the bank? Who's going to provide those services? Who's going to be the Schwab, the Bloomberg, the Moody's, or the prime brokerages of the future? And those are the startups who are building today, who 10 years from now are going to own this new economy. And that's, I think, really important for people to open up their eyes to. There's a lot of exciting opportunities. And I don't mean go buying all sorts of crazy random tokens, do a lot of research, put your money behind the right people, and really think before you do it, and have a strategy and execute that strategy. But it's so exciting. It's really like the advent of the internet all over again. And you have the chance to invest in the next Steve Bezos's, the next Elon Musk's, all these people that built what we see today, right? And I think that that's what's happening now. We're not going to really know who those people are for 5-10 years from now, but at that point, they're going to be the trillion-dollar companies of the world.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we have 1 more minute to go. So my last question for you is, what's the new trend in DeFi investment these days? Do you see some say governance token farming is the new thing? What do you see?
I wouldn't look at all of the bells and whistles and the new trends as the thing to follow. It is really fun, right? Like, I will tell you that I am online late nights right now. For me, it's 9:45 at night, and I'm not going to bed anytime soon. I'm going to be playing with this stuff. But what I would look at is the underlying value. What is the user proposition? What's happening with these protocols and with these products, right? What are they offering the consumer that they weren't getting before? Why are people driven to this? Because right now, the nerds amongst us, and I'm talking about myself, are participating. But it's a little too complicated for the average person. But if I'm participating because I see extreme value, the next entrepreneur is going to make it easier for everyone else to participate for that same reason. And so look at that. Whether it's a governance token that you hold because you're participating, or whether it's equity you hold for participating, or whether it's a security token or a utility token for participating in a network. What you have to look at is not as much the token, but what value is coming. Like, a lot of people have gotten obsessed with tokens, especially in the institutional world, because they saw some of the returns from the ICO days looking abysmal for 2, 3, 4 years, and then all of a sudden creating tons and tons of value out of thin air and outperforming Bitcoin. And so they're like, oh, we only should invest in companies that are launching a token. You shouldn't care if it's a token. You shouldn't care if it's equity. If you're an early stage investor, You should be looking at what's the value of this company going to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And if it's up and to the right, then you should be, actually mirror image is to the left, so up and to your right, then you should look at that very, very seriously and contemplate participating. But the trends, those little things, they're gonna come and go. What we're realizing on the whole macro level, looking from up above, is we're getting back to community banking. We're getting back to the original reason why banks and communities came together, to help each other, to prop each other up, without the middleman, without all of, like I said before, the fat in the network. And what smart contracts are doing are making it as easy as me going to my neighbor's house and giving them $20 so that they could buy that special thing they need or help them in a time of need, but doing it online, without the middleman, with my friends and family on the other side of the world. With you in a room in Dubai, I'm texting some of you right now, and in the same effort I could text you, I could send you $1 million. I could invest in your company. That's what's exciting here. And that's what this industry is really building. And I think if we look at it from a high level, there's the sky's the limit. It's a really exciting time.
I guess that's the key investment lesson that we're learning, which is looking at the bigger picture here of what kind of a new system that we can have in the finance in the near future. Thank you so much, Alon, for the chat again. And I hope, the rest of you guys enjoying the Dubai event, and looking forward to catching up with you soon. And maybe we can follow you on Twitter to get more news.
Absolutely. No, and thank you so much for having me. Thank you very much, Ting, for moderating this. Everybody should follow Cointelegraph, where Ting is one of the editors and one of the writers. And you manage, I think, China as well. So you should follow her, follow Cointelegraph. They're one of our favorite media companies in the space. I appreciate all of you, and have fun in real life.
Thank you. Thank you, Alon.
Thanks.
See you.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Bye.